Hey there guys, my name's EarthToLydia and welcome back to another Dead by Daylight Should You Buy episode. Today we're going to be talking about Detective Tapp from the Saw chapter. And for anybody who's not seen one of these videos before, what we tend to do is break down the character in terms of their character model, including their voice and in-store cosmetics, their teachable perks, and then what playstyle they'll be most suited towards, in my opinion. But before we get into it, I do just want to say we are so close to hitting 10,000 subscribers on YouTube. Also, I'm a full-time Dead by Daylight streamer over on Twitch, so come catch me at twitch.tv/EarthToLydia. Anyway, let's begin. Something I do need to mention before we get into it is that Tapp is a licensed character, meaning that he can only be purchased with or excels. So first of all, let's go over Tapp's character model. Your default cosmetics that you get for Tapp are extremely muted blue tones. They're verging on grey as well, but they make him very, very easy to blend in on the vast majority of maps in the game, if that is something that you want to do. Unlike a lot of the other licensed characters as well, Tapp does actually have some other customizations on the in-game store. They're also quite muted in terms of color, but some stick out a little more than others. Another thing to consider is his voice. Now Tapp's voice is actually very one note. His breathing and sounds of pain all sound very similar, and they are definitely on the quieter side, meaning that if you don't have Iron Will available, you could actually still probably hide it very well as him. Now moving on to Tapp's teachable perks. At level 30 in Tapp's Blood Web, you'll unlock the perk Tenacity. When you've got Tenacity equipped, if you get downed, you'll be able to crawl up to 50% faster and you can recover at the same time as crawling. This does work at its best when it's synergizing with other perks such as Unbreakable, maybe even Flip-Flop, but it can be just as useful if you're trying to just crawl to a pallet that's nearby. That way maybe a teammate can get a pallet save for you. I'd say out of all of Tapp's perks, this one is probably going to be the one that is going to be of the least value to beginners, but if you do have some other perks available, that's when you'll really see the strength. At level 35, we unlock Detective's Hunch. Each time a generator is completed, the auras of any generators, chests, and totems within a 65-meter range will be revealed to you for 10 seconds. And if you're holding a map that can track objects, this will add all of those tracked objects to the map. I know quite a few people that have played the game for a while that really like this perk, however, you don't really see it used at high ranks. Personally, I think where this perk is really overlooked is when a new map gets released, or as we've seen more recently, a lot of reworks. It gives you a really good idea of where generators can spawn, particularly if it's an indoor map, it gives you a really good idea of where the generators can spawn, as well as any hard to reach totems. And in the same vein, beginners will also find a use out of this perk. You do, however, have to be mindful that this perk will activate immediately as soon as a gen pops, so if you're not paying attention, you might miss some valuable information. And at level 40, we have Stakeout. For every 15 seconds that you're stood in the killer's terror radius without being chased, Stakeout will gain a token up to a maximum of 4 tokens. The next time that you hit a good skill check, it will consume a token to convert that to a great skill check, and will also give you an additional progress bonus of 1%. But if you do hit great skill checks, it will not consume any tokens. Now this one I think is going to be the best for beginners. If you're just about coming to terms with hitting skill checks, but not quite confident enough yet to go for greats, then this is the perk for you. This is another example of a perk that has good synergy with other perks. If you use Stakeout with Fast Track, then that additional 1% of bonus progress will be added onto however many stacks of Fast Track you also have. But again, I think you will see use out of this no matter what your experience is in the game. Now, who would I recommend Tapp to? I actually think you'll get good value out of him no matter what your skill level is, though personally I can see him being a really good example of a survivor that you can start with and then keep maining and adding onto as your experience grows too. Like I said, his perks are a really good example of builds that you can run while getting to grips with the game and then find alternative uses for later on. They also benefit him both in solo queue and if you're playing with friends. As I mentioned earlier, Tenacity is a perk which will help you to get either out in the open for a flashlight save or under a pallet for a pallet save, whereas Detective's Hunch can help you both come to terms with the map and also let your teammates know of key points of interest on the map. So for example, if you're trying desperately to find a hex perk like Devour Hope, you could pop a generator while somebody else is taking a chase and see where all of the remaining totems are. But either way, I think that Tapp is a really well-rounded character and he's extremely underrated and worthy of your money. But as I mentioned earlier, the drawback is he is only available with real world money. So it's up to you whether or not that's worth it. Anyway, let me know what characters that you want to see next. I've had a few people people requesting that I do Jane, so if you want to see her, let me know in the comments. Alternatively, if you want to see someone else, then feel free to recommend them. I'm also going to be leaving the link to the Should You Buy playlist in the description, so if you haven't already checked out that, then there is the place to do so. As always, my social medias are going to be linked in the description. I want to thank everyone so much for making it this far into the video. Until next time, take care, guys.